So we are incredibly proud and fortunate to welcome our good friend and tonight's host, a man that we all know and admire and we love, Frank Stasio.
I didn't deserve that, but thank you very much. It is a real pleasure. I have to say it's an honor to be here tonight, to be talking to you about this film and this project, and to be part of the Hidden Voices project. I mean, we take, at the state of things, in a way, Hidden Voices is our model. It's what we want to be on the air, what they are on the ground, bringing people into a theater space to enact and embody the experiences that are all of us, and to have the communion that is listening, and that is this exchange of ideas. It's quite true that when people are listened to, they are empowered. How do we make power? It's because until we listen and embody and embrace the grief, and the sorrow and the suffering, and the joys of others, we are only potential. And when we listen, and when we take it in, and when we are heard and know we're being taken in, then power is created, real power. And so it's a joy to be part of the Hidden Voices project, this one, and a kind of a mixed pleasure to be here today, because this film is an amazing film, and it comes out of a remarkable project. The mixed part of it, of course, is that we had to make this film. The mixed emotion here is that it's a true story. And what's even worse is this true story that happened decades ago is as relevant today as it was the day the story hit the newspapers. But in that grief and in that sorrow, there was an artistic rendition of a story that is communicated, that comes from listening. You'll see the remarkable job that Mike Wiley does in embodying all of the characters. And so he reminds us that each of us carries within us the love, the hate, the violence, and the possibility for redemption. Each of us carries that, and it's a powerful message that Mike, I think, conveys, and that this film conveys in doing that. So I want to bring that film, obviously, to get it started very quickly, and I want to thank the Varsity Theater for being such a great community partner and welcoming us to Franklin Street. This is a great place to do this with all of its history. Thanks to the band and the music, particularly Rick Keena, Jennifer Evans, and the continued support. Serious fashion for playful women. Yeah. All right, let's hear it for Sophie. Yay! Yeah. Chapel Hill Zetas. Vimla, of course, of the marvelous tonight's refreshments, but is also opening a restaurant to anyone who wants to continue this conversation after the show, so hop on over there. Of course, to Mike Wiley, Rob Underhill, Arvind Rakapathy, and Larry Gardner, everyone involved in the making of this film, for so generously lending this film and their support to the work of Hidden Voices. So let's bring them up now. DAR HE, of course, the lynching of Emmett Till, has done remarkable things. Not only is it a remarkable rendition of an awful historic event, but it's also been successful. It has won 8 Best Film Awards, including Best Feature Film at the Hollywood Black Film Festival. Yeah. Two previous films, Empty Space in 2009 and Wolf Call in 2010, have won a combined 28 Film Festival Awards. We're not going to stop here. The newest feature film is in production now, and I'm told that some of the last reels are in the can. Remember film? Anybody remember film? Box Brown, incredible story. It's a true story of Henry Box Brown, the American slave, who actually mailed himself to freedom. That's coming soon to a theater near you, and I'm sure will win many awards as well. So let's find out who we have here. Actor and playwright Mike Wiley's work spans, Mike Wiley. Michael, of course, wrote the original stage production of this show that then became the film that you're about to see. Emmett Till, he did Henry Box Brown, Jackie Robinson, a lot more. Each work is designed to inspire audiences to examine America's racial history, teach lessons of the past, encourage applications of truth, and of course examine ourselves and find out that we are all of these characters as well. Rob Underhill is the director and producer for DAR HE, an award-winning director. Rob Underhill. Award-winning director, producer, and film writer. He writes promotional music videos and a lot more. And his work is screened at over 100 film festivals across the world. Rob Underhill. Ragapathy, an award-winning director of photography, co-producer of DAR HE. Extensive portfolio as a cinematographer includes features, narratives, music videos, and leading film production houses. Aravind Ragapathy. Good, so Larry's here as well. Larry Gardner. Up to the mic when we do this, but let me talk to you first, Mike, about just writing this film and the play itself. Was it your idea to play all the parts when you wrote this play at first?
It's cheaper that way. you laugh, but it's true. Yeah. I realized that in our memories, we are forgetting the story of Emmett Till. Not only the story of Emmett Till, but we're forgetting the story of many African Americans that were killed in the way that Emmett Till was killed. And at the time I wrote it, we were coming up on the 50th anniversary of his death. And, you know, this is a story that I tell to young people because they understand it when I say it. I say, around that time, there was a very popular song by Kanye West called Through the Wire, right? And it's, you know, through the wire. Black folks like, oh yeah. Black folks like, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, within that song, he talks about an accident that he was in. And he compares the way he looks to Emmett Till. That song was an extremely popular song. And so popular that when I would say Emmett Till to young people, they would go, oh yeah, like in that Kanye song. Yeah, like, no. Not like in that Kanye song. Because if Kanye looked anything like Emmett Till, he would not be alive. And it's a bucket of cold water. And I felt that if the story was going to be told, I wanted to tell it, and I wanted to tell it from as many angles as possible. As an African American, telling it from a white perspective, telling it from a Southerner's perspective, and telling it from a man who had once been a 14-year-old boy.
What's it like, though? Because to embody all of those, you can tell it from a white perspective as the white reporter, and that's from the outsider, a little bit more objective. And you have to be the murderer, and you have to be the family, the victim. How do you make that transition? Do you find yourself blocking yourself? Do you find yourself initially saying, I can't get down into that of this place?
I find that what all actors have to do is find it within themselves, find the truth within the character, find those parallels within my own life that I can make with not just Emmett Till, but Mamie Till, but not just Mamie Till, Roy Bryant and J.W. Milam. Find those parallels, find the truth. There are three truths: my truth, your truth, and the truth, and find somewhere in the middle. And by finding somewhere in the middle, I feel like I can get closer, not exact, but I can get closer to who those people are without bringing my own, that is to say, my own opinions of who they are. And my desire, by the end of the film and by the end of the play, is that some people feel somewhere within them some sorrow for even the men who did it. And that's what finding the truth is.
Rob, let me ask you a question about taking a work that's been essentially written for the stage and then turning it into film. What are the challenges?
Sure. Part of it is you need a visual story, of course. You've got to On stage, you can create many images in mind, but when you do it as a film, you absolutely have to have the visual context, and you have to believe you're there, and suspension of disbelief. Though, we've got very high expectations in the movie theater. We go in that everything's going to sound perfect, look perfect, and we're going to be totally absorbed by whatever's happening. And so that was part of the challenge. And of course, I worked very closely with Arvin Ragapoppy with that, and his director of photography, to make sure that we could create these places and things where people could see it as really happening. Taking us back to the time when it happened, to 1955. And so we worked hard at that. Then part of the challenge is, of course, it is entirely dialogue-driven, and this film is, of course, pretty dialogue-driven itself. But how do you make that engaging? And that's another process that me and the partners had to go through to decide how that could work. So my main goal when I worked with Mike Wiley to transform it into a screenplay was to bring out the visual context and elements and showcase Mike's ability to interact and capture his audience as much as possible.
I'd like to ask both Arvin and Larry a little bit about the cinematography and the photography, because when you have a stage, the eye is pretty much all engaged. When you have the entire field of vision absorbed, and when you're working on the screen, it seems to me you have a different set of challenges. And I wonder what that means for you in terms of cinematography for a play that is so dialogue-driven. What kinds of concerns did you have?
So when we started the experimental project 4 years ago, we started to venture with empty space, which was him performing in one space. But all the powerful elements of different actors and portraying each character was so remarkable. We thought we have to move this to real spaces and real interactions. And the best part is what might have started as to be a gimmick in kind of creating a visual effect or a story, it ended up being portraying different characters. And every time Mike would put a small little prop for a character and appear in front of the camera, the whole scene would transform. He had so much power to the whole scene that it was like, you can't miss it. I mean, it's so obvious. A simple hand gesture, just adjusting the hair. Each of those elements were so powerful. So when you put it all together and then start removing all the gimmicks and trying to create a chronological story of the whole events, it was very, very interesting. When Larry started to do a little bit of test with what we started to do, we started to get something out of it. And then once we started to put together a shorter version of the movie, we knew we could go full-length feature with that. That's when Larry came completely. We were sitting and dissecting every scene to see if each of the elements will play and how to time it and all that. But Mike gave it to us. It just a matter of putting the camera at the right spot and getting it there. So that was part of the journey.
Larry? Yeah.
Well, as the editor on this project, I have a unique task with Mike here. Most schizophrenics only show one personality at a time. In this case, I had to see 36 of them, sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 at a time. So my task was to take what Mike had done, and what Arvin and Rob had given me in the way of footage, and put it together into a cohesive piece that made some sense, and where it's believable that this one actor is all these characters. And it was a real challenge. The film is full of special effects. Hopefully most of them are invisible. The idea is that can you buy the idea that this one guy is all these people, and that it plays as a continuous story? That was my challenge. And these guys gave me the stuff to do it with. They made a few mistakes. Perhaps the most significant one was when they shot the characters in a green truck on a green screen. But other than that, we managed to get it.
As an editor, you don't make me look very good at all.
I'm sorry, I edit, but I don't do miracles.
You're reprising your role as the Jade City Warrior. That's why you're the man in green. Who knows? I have one more question for Mike, then we're going to see the film. And Mike, after seeing, you did the stage production for so long, now this film. Did doing the film or seeing the film change anything for you, and just how you understood your own work? You can just say no.
Honestly, it's only made it better. I mean, it's the best I can say. It's only made me when I perform the play now, and partially it's that we just worked on the film for so long that I was repeating the lines over and over again. So now, when I do the play, it's just like butter. It's just amazing. It's very smooth and silky. But as far as learning more about who these folks are, I think I get more from learning what people think about the film. Not so much even the film, but just the individual characters.
I want to thank all of you, and without any further ado, let us introduce DAR HE from Lynching of Emmett Till.